types of astronomy programs, the blood moons are real, and they haven't happened. These kinds of things don't happen now for hundreds of years at a time. So these are not regular phenomenon. A lunar eclipse is, but not a tetrad on Jewish holy days. The second major end time sign related to the sun, moon, and stars is the Revelation 12 sign that happened on September the 23rd, 2017. Now, what I'm about to say to you is the second most important thing that has happened in my lifetime regarding the end times. Now, I was born in 1953, so I wasn't around when Israel became a nation. But I was around in 1967 when Jerusalem was reunified. That's the most important thing that's happened prophetically in my lifetime. The second most important thing was the Revelation 12 sign on September 23rd, 2017. Here's the Revelation 12 sign. This is Revelation 12 describing now an end times astronomical sign that's going to happen. You see a graphic there on your screen. Now, this is Revelation 12. Let me read the scripture, then I'll explain the graphic to you. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems on his heads. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who is to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God in his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness where she has prepared a place by God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now this was literally fulfilled. Now there is a prophetic fulfillment here related to Israel, but you see on the screen there, you see this graphic. Let me explain it to you. So on September 23rd, 2017, the constellation Leo was above the head of the constellation Virgo. Of course, Virgo is the Virgin, Leo is the Lion. And so the Virgin is Mary, and of course Leo is Jesus. But you have, Leo has 9 stars. Remember, it says that there was a garland of 9 stars over her head. Well, the Leo has 9 major stars that make up the outline. But on September the 23rd of 2017, Mercury, Mars, and Venus joined those 9 stars to make 12 stars that were over the head of the Virgo, constellation Virgo. And then the sun, you'll notice on that graphic there, the sun was over Virgo's shoulder, the Virgin's shoulder. In other words, she was clothed with the sun, and the moon was under her feet. You can see it right there. Then Jupiter, which is called the king planet, which the Jews associate with the Messiah. Now this is extraordinary. The Jupiter entered the womb of Virgo on November the 20th of 2016 and retrograded, which means it stayed in the same place. It looked like it was staying in the same place. It retrograded from February to July, then exited the womb on September the 9th, 2017. It was inside the womb exactly 41 weeks, which is the time of human gestation. And then it came out. It came out between the legs of Virgo. It exited the legs of Virgo. And by the way, it says that the male child was caught up. That's raptured, harpazo. And this is the next graphic here. You'll see now that between the legs of Virgo, there was a red, creepy object. I mean, this is, it's incredible. This is between her legs, and it was redacted by NASA and also by Google Sky. And you say, why? Redacted means they put a little black box over it to block it out from being there. And you can see it if you look carefully between the legs of Virgo there. You'll see that little black box. You'll also see this is the actual image that they're blocking out there. It is this creepy red, it's infrared, is creepy red creature that looks like a dragon with 12 heads and all that kind of stuff like that. This actually happened on September 23rd, 2017. And so I'm saying to you, this is absolutely amazing. When Jesus said there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars, you can check that box. 2 major end time signs have appeared in the heavens. By the way, there's a software program called Stellarium, and this is where some of those pictures come from. By the way, that one of those charts there was a Louis Vega chart. He does phenomenal charts there. But I'm saying to you, you can look this stuff up. God created in Genesis chapter 1 universal signs that the whole world could see. Well, like Jesus came the first time, people didn't care. they weren't paying attention. But Jesus Christ came and the nation missed it by and large. But there were watchers. There were people watching. The world right now, most people could care less, but you're watching this because you care. And I'm saying in the last 73 years, if we are the last generation, okay, in Psalm 90 says, the days of a man's life are 70 years, or if by reason of strength, they're 80 years. We're 73 years into since Israel was regathered. Let me go very quickly through the next 5 signs. The number 3, this is the number 3 major sign, is the sign of Israel's rebirth for the second time. This is Isaiah 11. It shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of the people who are left from Assyria and Egypt, from Pathros and Cush, from Elam and Shinar, from Hamath and the islands of the sea. He will set up a banner for the nations and will assemble the outcast of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the 4 corners of the earth. Now, remember, the first time that God regathered Israel was from Babylon. He didn't gather them from the 4 corners of the earth. It was just from Babylon. This says God will, for the second time, set his hand again to regather Israel from the 4 corners of the earth. That happened on May the 14th of 1948. That is what started. That was the major sign that started the end times prophetic clock. You can't have the end times without Israel existing as a nation. Here's number 4. It's the sign of Jerusalem under Jewish rule. This is Luke 21. This is Jesus. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation is near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Then let those who are in the midst of her depart. And let not those who